I'd like to call the Human Service Committee to order, and I apologize to the department heads that have been waiting. Thank you for your patience today, and we'll try to get you out of here. Can we start with the roll call, please?
Mrs. Burdick.
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts Wales.
Here.
Mr. Sear.
Here.
Mrs. Hanchett.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mrs. Root.
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt. And Mr. Harris. 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. The approval of the January 4th minutes.
Root will make that motion.
Second, Ricketts Wales. Any discussion or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Mr. Shaw from Public Health.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Tyler.
Some highlights from my monthly report. Let's see what I have here. There has been some talk about updating the COVID vaccine at the ACIP level, which is the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, as well as the FDA, looking to move towards an annual vaccination. So hopefully that will come out shortly. They are still deliberating on that topic. We have seen a decrease in our communicable disease investigations along with our STI investigations. And as you can see on our health education side, a big push in 2022 as we ended the year for lead poisoning prevention and immunization action plan activities for health education, as well as obviously COVID-19 work going on in 2022 as well. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Tyler? If not, we'll move right ahead to your grant funds agreement.
Perfect. First up is an agreement with Grant and Brinks for our WIC program. They are a satellite site in Wellsville, and this is for the maintenance agreement for our telephone system over there.
Can I have a motion to approve that?
Root will make that motion.
Ricketts Wales will second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carried. And the next one, Tyler?
All right, next is a request to abolish one of our early intervention service coordinator positions. This position was on the books from 2011. It was a part-time position, and if you remember last month, I brought a full-time position forward. So just cleaning up the cards, that's all.
Okay.
Hanchett will move.
Healy will second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And your next one.
All right, the next two kind of go together. I am looking to execute a contract. We'll kind of change that up a little bit. I'm looking for an execution of agreement with HRI, which is amendment number 2 in your packet, and it's for additional funds. We got an additional 10% from the federal government in the amount of $147,651.
Can you just explain briefly what that money's for, Tyler?
Yes, so
Thank you.
that's why those two go together. There's a budget adjustment request on there, and the expenses are going to be, this can solely be used for all of our school districts across the county. So we're looking to put the monies in general supplies, which could mean test kits, it could mean thermometers, any supplies that the schools may need in terms of COVID-19.
Healy will move that.
Ricketts Wales will second.
Any comments or discussion?
That's all money coming in, right, to us?
Yes, yep.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Carried, thank you. And let's see, we have one more.
So I'll go back one. So that was for the execution of the agreement. Next one would be for the budget adjustment and the accept and appropriate those funds.
Right. Okay, can we have a motion for that one?
No, thanks.
Ricketts Wales will.
Healy will second.
Any discussion or comments on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
All right, lastly, I'm seeking approval for our Allegheny County Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program contract. This is our typical state aid contract that we'd have. I'm sure you saw the nice 74-page document in there. This is our 5-year block grant, typical work activities that we conduct in that program.
Hanchett moves.
Do we have a second?
Root will second that.
Any further discussion or comments on that? Tyler, is any of that money available to the homeowners to correct a lead problem?
This is only for children in the home that are under 5 that have elevated blood levels. So they go to their doctor and they get their finger checked and finger pricked. The level is elevated. That prompts our office to go into the home and then find out where that lead is. So there's an enforcement piece. That's really what we're trying to make sure the child isn't being poisoned. But at this point, no, that money cannot be used. And to be honest, it's such a small amount, it doesn't even cover what our operation costs at this point.
Are you still seeing a lot of lead poisoning or high lead in the county? I know
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. It is, we have older housing stock,
Yeah.
anything built before 1978. We'll have a little presentation for you hopefully in the future on some lead numbers and some housing stock. But yeah, we're managing, I think it's right now in my annual report or my monthly report, we are managing 40 active cases right now. So yeah.
Tyler, is this from lead paint?
This is from lead paint. This could be from soil as well. We do have some lead soil issues in the county. And it also could be, we have some lead drinking water sources, but those have, the state has put a lot of money towards fixing those things and
Yeah.
repairing those lead pipes. So that's a small portion, I would say.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor? Carried. And please thank Penny. We are going to cancel the presentations this month just because we're running so late today. So thank you, Tyler, and we will look forward to hearing from her in the future.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Edna Kay, Social Services Commissioner. Welcome, Edna.
Afternoon. On our monthly report, I wanted to just point out, and I might have said it last month, I'm going to repeat it, that the emergency allotment of SNAP benefits through the pandemic will end on March 1st, 2023. We've put info on our website. If you look at the website, under social services, there's a food bank button that folks can push to find all of the food banks in Allegheny County that will be hopefully helpful. And that we also put on there the step-down process of the emergency allotment coming to an end as of March 1st. On a lighter note, I wanted to share that Jonah Crump graduated from Leadership Allegheny. It was a very nice graduation, as well as Liz Brewer. When she started Leadership Allegheny, she was a DSS employee, so we're going to take credit for her, even though now she's working for the courts.
Thank you for the good news.
Yep.
All right, so now we can move on to your request to create and fill a senior typist.
So I'm requesting to create and fill a senior typist position. It has hourly rate of $18.37 to $21.51. It's 38% county, 10% state, 52% federal funding. If you're in agreement with that, Terry will do an MOE for the meeting on the 15th to move money from contingency to cover that position. That position would be for the front desk, which we are currently, in the 33 days I looked at the numbers, we had 914 folks coming into the agency. We're averaging about 28 customers a day. It is now manned by 2 social welfare examiners, and those social welfare examiners each carry a case of 200 or more folks on their caseload, so we would look to maybe free up some of that time from the social welfare examiner, and where some of those duties that they're doing are senior typist duties, and that would be better use of their time, and hopeful that we can keep things caught up.
And that includes any backfills, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion for that?
Root will make that motion.
Second, Ricketts Wales.
Any other further questions or comments? Just to make it clear, this is a new position.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And 2 caseworkers?
These are one of our caseworkers went to probation, and another caseworker had her first baby, decided she needed to work from home, so she found another position. Can't blame her there. But the pay rate is $23.75 to $29.63 per hour. It's 35.5% county, 21.89% state, 42.54% federal. And that would also result with any backfills.
Can I have a motion to approve this?
Hanchett moves. Ricketts seconds.
Any questions or comments? Have you had any trouble getting people to apply for these jobs?
Yes. Yep. We're definitely struggling to fill positions. We have 2 CPS positions right now that we need to get filled. That's a hard job. Not a very attractive position, but, and yes, we've been having difficulty getting those filled. Tests are, we're doing, most of our fills are coming with provisional placement, depending on when the test comes. Yes, it's been very difficult.
All right, any other questions?
There's I know there's a big burnout rate there too for the
There
CPS
is.
workers and, how's the turnover there? Do you get a lot of turnover?
It really, I blame COVID. I think COVID brought on a lot of different looks at how we're employed. And really the turnover has been significant lately, so it's usually been pretty stable within the department, but
That's a tough job,
It
especially
is.
to do it day in and day out.
it
And we
is.
thank everybody.
Yes, definitely.
I'll make sure they know.
Yeah. Okay, can I have, all in favor of that? Aye. Carried. And then paralegal?
Yep, our paralegal position is resigning. Her old job previous to here has offered her quite a bit of more money than what we would be able to compete with. So she is going on her way, although she's going to miss us greatly. Carissa, thank you for filling in there. So that hourly rate is $28.04 to $39.97, 46% county, 5% state, 49% federal.
Can I have a
Helio.
motion?
Oops.
Go ahead, Ms. McKeon.
Helio, move that.
Second, Ricketts Swales. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And then we have a contract with Custom Lawn Care.
Custom Lawn Care mows the lawn at the Child Advocacy Center and, I'm sorry, they don't mow the lawn. They take care of the winter. They do the plowing, the winter maintenance services, and it's 100% reimbursable from our federal contract.
I have a motion for that. Ricketts Swales will move that.
Hatchet seconds.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And then we have a contract to approve for Scott Anderson
Yep.
for psychological evaluations.
Dr. Anderson does our forensic psychological evaluations. He is $165 per billable hour with a maximum of $12,000. Contract is budgeted 62% state reimbursement and 38% local share.
The Root will make the motion.
Ricketts Swales will second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And one more, and that's the MOE for Cat County.
Yep, so this memorandum is for Cattaraugus Community Action to, they are asking that our Safe Harbor program complete wraparound services for their Safe Harbor clients, and they would give us $10,000 out of their Safe Harbor grant to cover those wraparound services specifically for children that are referred from them to the CAC for that service.
Ricketts Swales will move that.
Helio will second that.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
That's all I have today.
Edna, with the severe cold weather coming, are you all set for warming centers?
So, no, we're not all set for warming centers, but I do believe that, like during the Christmas, that Christmas weekend, Mr. Lucky shared with you that we were able to open up an emergency service for that weekend. We will continue to work to find a place. We know that we can staff it. We know that we can put the furniture or whatever it is that we need in there for that. We have all of that. We will continue to seek and look for a place. I did have a long conversation with OTDA today about that, the Office of Temporary, but anyway, had a conversation with them today. We don't need to do a budget adjustment at this time or to re-up our to amend our contract with them. So that will have to come when we know more answers, but we're just going to keep working on it. We're not going to give up. Like I told you last month, we're going to figure it out.
Thank you, Edna.
Yep.
Madam?
Yes,
So,
Mr.
real quick, before we lose Edna, sorry, Edna. It's not a question, though. I just wanted to point out, since Edna's here, back in last June, we passed a resolution regarding the enhanced federal Medicaid assistance money that was owed to the county, 1.4 million or something like that. Still hasn't been reconciled. If you remember, the state gives us 80% of what is supposed to be the total direct to counties and withholds the 20%, and they haven't been reconciling. Mark Levine just sent an email saying that in the governor's budget proposal, she's proposing to keep all of the EF MAP money and not give any of it to the counties. The counties are the intended recipients of that federal aid. So I think over the last 7 years, I think the state's withheld 1.7 billion from the counties in New York City. Now it'll be $1 billion every year. So whatever you can do, from your end to encourage the legislature to make an amendment to that in the budget, I think is important. We should probably draft another resolution as well.
We saw that by today. I just saw it. We're meeting on that, meeting on that. Just saw that budget today, haven't really had a deep dive, but NYPWA is meeting on that February 7th to take a good look at that, and hopefully we'll also get behind that as well.
Divide New York.
Is this something intercounty will be looking at also, Mr. Harris?
I'm sure, yeah. The problem, intercounty is great. The problem with intercounty is that they can't address a resolution until it's passed through a county legislature. And stuff like this that comes up, you have to move so fast on it that by the time it gets drafted and passed through a county, then it gets filed in time to get put on an intercounty agenda. And then by the time we meet for intercounty and vote on it, oftentimes the damage is already done and it doesn't have the effect that it would otherwise have. I think we should try probably in the next couple of weeks to get a resolution together.
Well, you want a motion by this committee along that lines today while we're here?
The committee could probably direct the county attorney to draft a resolution in that regard.
I would certainly entertain a motion for that.
So moved, Hanchett?
Healy will second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Thank you, Mr. Harris, for bringing that to our attention. I think we definitely need to pursue that. Thank you. Thank you, Edna, for anything you can do also. All right, we will move on to Office for the Aging, Anita Madison. Good afternoon, Anita.
Good afternoon. The first thing on our agenda is the monthly report. Just a couple highlights. The phone calls at the front desk continue to go up from last year and last month. Also, the information and assistance continues to go up compared to last year at this time. We've doubled information and assistance, which is when people call in just looking for all kinds of services. Those are just a couple of highlights I had in addition to our total year end for the Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Initiative Program. We had over 1,000 consultations for caregivers of individuals with loved ones or family with Alzheimer's or any kind of dementia. We also put in over 1,000 hours of in-home respite for those caregivers as well. So that's year end. Is there any questions on my monthly report?
I assume you're going to be getting ready for tax season.
Yes, yes, we are. We are doing training. We've been doing training. Our first day of tax clinic is actually Monday. So there is no VITA program in Allegheny County, so we have been working with AARP and the IRS, as well as United Way for Allegheny and Cattaraugus County to figure out who those individuals will go to. We have expanded our volunteers to cover 55 and over instead of 60 and over, but that's the best we can do with the capacity of volunteers that we have, and so we're trying to figure out other individuals, low income, up to 55, where they're going to be able to get their taxes done for free. So we did expand it to 55 and over to accommodate some of the individuals who are being left off. And that starts on Monday. I'll send a schedule out to everyone.
And that's by appointment only, correct?
It is by appointment only, yes.
All right, we can go on. We have some lease agreements for nutrition sites.
Yes, so the first one that we're asking to enter into is the lease agreement with Bolivar Fire Department. This is for $16 per day. This is the same as last year's contract, and this is for our Congregate Luncheon Center.
So moves here.
Have a second?
Second, Ricketts Swales.
Any discussion? I just had one question on the nutrition sites. I noticed that some don't charge you anything and others charge you something, but they're all different rates, it seems. Is there any way we can come up with a standard rate that we would pay for all of them, or do you pretty much depend on them to tell you how much they want?
We look at their costs because some of the facilities that we use fire halls, some of them are like the Legion, and then some are churches. So if the unit is used for other things, then the cost is lower for us because the heat is on, the utilities are on. But if they are warming it and turning utilities on just for us to hold a site, those rates are a little bit higher. That's why we work with them. If we set a standard, I'd probably have to set it high enough to cover those, and then it would blow our budget. So that's why we look at it. If there are places that aren't charging us anything because the heat is already on or they have staff there all the time, it helps us with our budget.
Or they're just being nice?
We have a couple of those too, yes, we do. And I appreciate them greatly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, the next one is the Cuba nutrition site.
Okay, so this is a lease for the Cuba Fire Department that is $15 a day, and that is no rate increase from 2022. That's our Cuba Congregate Luncheon
Delia will
Center.
move that.
Root will second.
Any comments or discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And Wellsville?
This is for Grace United Church. This is for $10 per day, and there is no increase from the 2022 budget.
So moves here.
Ricketts Swales will second that one.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you.
And finally,
And the last thing on my agenda is a request to do an addendum to our current master contract with WINIAC, which is increasing our meals from 28 authorized meals for 14 days. This is for eligible members who are through the Independent Health Medicare Advantage plans listed below, including Independent Health Encompass Assure, the HMO, Encompass 65 Basic, and Encompass 65, all Medicare Advantage plans. For 2023, our reimbursement rate is going up to $24.75 per two meal unit, and then for a standard meal of 2-meal unit, it's $19.75. A standard meal would be a shelf-stable meal or a pre-frozen meal. All of the other meals are the regular meals at $24.75. So it is an increase in our revenue.
a motion for that one.
Ricketts Swales will move it. Hanchett seconds.
Any comments or discussion? Does everybody understand what this is for? Could you explain it just a little further?
Sure. So WINIAC, we have an agreement with WINIAC. We have a master contract that we entered into in 2020. WINIAC goes and negotiates rates with insurance companies, so we as an agency are not billing the insurance company as pass-through. So referrals will actually come from Independent Health into WINIAC as long as they meet the criteria. Right now, it is Independent Health as a Medicare Advantage plan that they have the contract with. So then Medicare Advantage plan would pay WINIAC for any eligible clients of theirs, any Medicare beneficiaries, to provide this service. WINIAC then has to have a contract to provide the service, and that's what we do, is we provide those meals, then WINIAC pays us the money that Independent Health paid them.
And the meals are provided through Good Times?
Yes, they are our Meals on Wheels.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Is that, any questions on that? That was like a high-level overview.
That's a very nice explanation. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, Anita. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, Anita, and we will make sure we get all your guests in the future.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Any old business today? Any new business? Go to the order. And can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Hanchett.
Root will second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you.